My name is McKenna Morales, and I'm the Associate Editor of the Facilities Market for Trade Press Media Group. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us for today's event, Putting Lighting Rebates to Work for Maximum ROI. First, we'd like to thank our webcast sponsor, Lutron, for helping make today's event possible. Our presenter today is Craig DeLuey, Education Director for the Lighting Controls Association. Craig is part of the Council of NEMA and is dedicated to educating the public about advanced lighting control, technology, and application. But today's webcast learning objectives include identify and select appropriate rebates to support energy efficiency goals, evaluate lighting upgrades with potential financial impact of rebates, select products qualified for a majority of rebate programs, and engage rebate programs and service providers to access rebates. Before we get started with the event, I'd like to cover just a few housekeeping details. We do encourage audience members to leave questions in the Q&A portion of the webcast. To submit questions, please navigate the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen and type in your questions at any time. At the conclusion of today's webcast, you will receive a PDF copy of today's presentation slides. You will also receive a link to a brief online assessment. Upon successful completion of this assessment, you will receive your CEU certificate. Sorry about that. But today's webcast will also be archived at facilitiesnet.com/webcast. And with all this information, I'll pass it on to you, Craig.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Putting Lighting Rebates to Work, a special webinar produced by BOM Magazine and the Lighting Controls Association. Thank you for attending this presentation, and special thanks to BOM for hosting and Lutron Electronics, of course, for sponsoring. So let's get right to it. The LED revolution has been nothing short of remarkable. This maturing technology dramatically improved lighting energy efficiency, redefined what's possible with light fixture design, and made dimming a standard capability. Following on the heels of the LED revolution has been another in lighting controls, which reduce not only wattage but operating time to maximize energy savings. Due to energy codes, lighting controls are a staple in new construction in many states. In existing buildings, they offer flexibility, energy savings, and new capabilities such as data and the ability to change light source color and shade of white light. A brand new state-of-the-art lighting and control system is actually probably a very attractive prospect to many building owners. A hurdle, of course, is the initial cost of the system. If this is an upgrade and not a renovation, the project will likely be expected to recover its cost within a desired period of time via energy savings. This may result in a focus on a limited choice of lighting upgrade options due to cost sacrificing potential value. That's where utility rebates can make a big difference. Many utilities and energy efficiency organizations offer a variety of financial incentives to encourage installation of advanced energy-saving lighting and controls in existing construction. They make this investment to avoid the higher cost of building new power generation and to provide a service to their customers. The primary benefit is to the building owner, which gains new energy-saving lighting and controls at a lower installed cost, and subsequently enjoys ongoing energy savings. Utility rebate programs offer a strong incentive to install LED lighting and then incorporate lighting controls, standalone, fixture integrated, or networked, as an attractive upfront add-on. Control rebates are substantial, historically consistent, recognize the most popular control types, and are geographically widely available in the United States. Rebates promoting network lighting controls, the most advanced option, continues to grow in availability. In this presentation, we'll talk about today's lighting upgrade opportunity, types of rebates, rebate trends, the general outlook for rebates this year, relatively new network lighting control rebates, how to get rebates, and the future of rebates as the LED revolution enters its late majority phase. And as McKenna shared with us, by the end of this presentation, you'll be able to identify and select rebates to support your goals, evaluate upgrade projects with them factored in, select products that qualify for rebates, and engage programs and service providers to access rebates. Okay, so first, let's see where LED adoption is and where the opportunities are to improve energy efficiency and lighting quality in existing buildings. The most recent lighting market characterization published by the Department of Energy in May 2024 provides a very interesting snapshot of LED adoption in that year. DOE estimated that LED lighting adoption in commercial buildings had already escalated to a level, nearly overtaking traditional sources. Other research by utility consulting firm DNV forecasted that LED share of the general lighting market in 4 northeastern states would exceed 70% as of 2023. With lighting controls, not as much. Advanced lighting controls still have some room for adoption. Again, in new construction, prevailing energy codes require very detailed and comprehensive lighting control strategies. In existing buildings, they're typically installed with LED upgrades, but sometimes left out, as they add to the initial cost with energy savings that can be very significantly high, but are applied to a load that is relatively now small. The most commonly installed lighting control solution is occupancy sensors, which dim or switch the controlled lights if the room is unoccupied. All this upgrade activity has had an enormous impact on commercial building energy consumption. According to the DOE, lighting's share of the average commercial building's electric energy consumption has fallen by more than half since the LED revolution started. The DOE estimated that LED lighting has reduced total energy consumption in the United States by 5%. That's nothing short of remarkable. There's still enormous opportunity out there, however. As of May 2024, 10 states have passed legislation banning or restricting the sale of the majority of compact and linear fluorescent lamps on the basis that they contain mercury. These states include California, Colorado, Hawaii, Maine, Minnesota, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. Illinois also recently passed a law which was waiting for the governor's signature. By the end of the decade, commercial buildings in these states will be completing the shift to LED lighting. Meanwhile, first-generation LED installations are aging out. LED products have 3 failure modes. The driver fails and may or not be able to be replaced. The phosphors degrade and undergo color shift to a bluer shade of white. Or lumen depreciation results in unacceptably low light levels. Since those early systems were installed, technology continued to undergo major advances in efficiency and controllability. Replacing these systems comprehensively can generate substantial energy savings while also improving lighting quality. Many of these LED installations were tubular replacement lamps, or what we call TLEDs. Type A lamps installed on existing fluorescent ballasts that are now aging out will need to be replaced, providing an opportunity for a different solution. Type B lamps, the most popular type, have also proven prone to sacrifices in lighting quality, which makes them ripe for higher quality options. The overall landscape of energy efficiency may also be getting a stimulus from growing interest in decarbonization and electrification in the United States. Decarbonizing buildings requires deep holistic retrofits favorable to the most robust energy efficiency options, including network lighting controls. Some jurisdictions have begun attempting to cap building carbon emissions. Electrification of transportation is expected to stress the electrical grid uh, as in the future, which would likely increase energy costs and alter the economics of upgrades. Finally, lighting controls have come a long way. They maximize energy savings, provide new capabilities such as color tuning, and the most robust systems provide access to building operating data that can turn a lighting system from a utility into an asset. Wireless lighting control has also matured in terms of standardization and reliability, enabling penetration of highly sophisticated lighting control systems in existing buildings. What used to cost a tremendous amount of resources is now much more easy to do and economical. Looking specifically at the lighting side of things, we have T-LED lamps, retrofit kits, and new light fixtures, what we in the industry call luminaires. T-LED lamps come in three major types, offering various levels of simplicity, cost, and value. LED retrofit kits modify the fixture for the light source to make it more purpose-built for the light source to ensure lighting quality is maintained or improved, while providing high energy savings of 40 to 60% and also relatively easy access to lighting control. If the fixtures are old or in poor condition and should be replaced, or if the space will be renovated, new fixtures either in a one-for-one replacement or in a totally new design, redesign, these things can, all these options can be considered. On the lighting control side, we have devices and systems that respond to the changes in the environment by switching or dimming the lighting to either save energy, energy management goal, or accomplish some type of uh, uh, change in the lighting condition to support visual needs. The controls can be wired or wireless. They can be installed as standalone, room-based, or even building or enterprise-based solutions. A simple path to maximizing control energy savings and flexibilities is to embed sensors and controllers in the light fixture, commonly called luminaire level lighting controls or embedded controls. For some medium and in particular larger buildings, networking the control points across the building enables global control, single workstation control of all the lighting, dynamic reprogramming to tune energy savings. You can reset the control profile, like what the algorithm is, what the controls actually do, how they behave, what we call their sequence of operations. You can rezone, and you can do all this with software remotely. And this is a platform from which you can more easily integrate with an HVAC system or other building systems. And it also provides the potential for data and services that enable services such as measuring and monitoring, optimizing space utilization, indoor wayfinding, and asset tracking, an Internet of Things light, if you will. The General Services Administration recently published a quite excellent guide to lighting upgrades for federal building energy managers that is applicable to many commercial buildings in the private sector as well, breaking down all these options. For lighting controls, they identified, which you can download, there's a link there. I highly recommend it. It's a really good publication. For lighting controls, they identified a simple decision process. The more you need the lighting controls to do, the more comprehensive a system will be required. An inhibitor to all these wonderful options, of course, is initial cost, which is where commercial lighting rebates now come into play. Rebates may be developed by utilities, state agencies, or some other third party. They may be oriented through the non-residential or residential markets. In the non-residential or commercial market, rebates may be prescriptive, point of sale, or custom. What does that mean? Starting with prescriptive rebates, also called downstream rebates. These are rebates that are fairly straightforward, but they involve a process and an upfront investment. With this most common type of commercial lighting rebate, the project team proposes to install qualifying energy efficient products, which earn $1 per product rebate. The rebate is typically awarded to the owner, though it can be directed to a third party. Point of sale, also called midstream rebates, are realized at the point of sale, producing a simple instant rebate with relatively low risk. For example, a distributor enrolls in the program, meets its requirements, and sells qualifying products at the product price minus the built-in incentive from the rebate program. While advantageous for its simplicity and growing in availability, these programs are generally limited to very common product types. The last major type of rebate is what we call the custom rebate. Custom rebates can offer significant dollar amounts, but are relatively complex, and they require more sophisticated measurement and verification. They are downstream rebates, just different kind. They're typically for innovative projects that go outside the prescriptive program, where maybe you have a lot of controls or you have integration with between systems, producing an energy saving effect, or you're doing a lot of changes to the lighting, but there's no easy one-for-one basis. In essence, the project team is proposing a rebate to the utility with a custom rebate. An example is a rebate based on dollar per kilowatt hour savings, although that's the most common, although there are others types of ways to get paid, dollar per kilowatt, or it could be dollar per square foot, or something else. They may be applicable to existing buildings as well as new construction, where energy savings may be awarded for exceeding energy code. Rebates influence the market in two ways. First, by reducing initial costs, they make investment in energy efficient lighting and controls in existing buildings more economically attractive, driving demand. In particular, they can be very effective in incentivizing the addition of lighting controls. In most programs, if there are commercial lighting rebates, there are also lighting control rebates. Though these rebates may not be emphasized in rebate catalogs, the average amounts are generally fairly high compared to cost, making controls a relatively inexpensive add-on. They fit well into projects seeking prescriptive rebates as well as those seeking custom rebates. Besides driving demand, rebates also influence product development by supporting and requiring adherence to a consistent set of technical requirements, qualifying products for rebate eligibility. Notably, the Design Lights Consortium's qualified products lists. The DLC is a nonprofit organization. It's funded by member utilities and energy efficiency programs. And it publishes the qualified products lists, or QPLs, that are focused on non-residential lighting products such as light fixtures, retrofit kits, lamps, and network lighting controls. The DLC evaluates products against its technical requirements for performance using independent test reports submitted by manufacturers. A majority of prescriptive commercial lighting rebate programs require products to be listed on a DLC QPL to be eligible to get the rebate. In addition to being a valuable resource for the rebate programs, the QPLs have another great utility, which is to provide a resource for lighting practitioners and building managers alike to easily identify, compare, and select high-performing products. You can access the list for free, and it's searchable, and there's just instant view of literally thousands of high-performing products. The QPLs cover solid-state lighting products, LED products, horticultural LED products, and network lighting controls, but not standard lighting controls. These typically qualify for rebate without a DLC listing. The solid state lighting QPL has two significant subsets. The most energy efficient products in the premium program, launched in 2017, and Luna dark sky friendly outdoor lighting, which was launched in 2022. Premium products had a purpose in its time, but since then, average efficiency has gone up so much and their standards have increased so much at the DLC spec that premium doesn't mean as much anymore. So uh, generally, premium products are covered by a minority of rebate programs, which either required across the board or reward installation with a bonus rebate. Why is that happening? There was a voice thing stuck in there. Okay, I'm just gonna in 2024, a majority of the United States is covered by commercial lighting rebate programs, as shown in the graphic. We've seen it twice. You get the idea. It's mostly green. Rebates are widely available in the United States. You can note that in Ohio, which had discontinued rebates at the end of 2020 due to state legislation, reportedly saw one utility reopen a commercial lighting rebate in last year. This year, significant opportunities are widely available for LED lighting and controls, including growing availability of rebates promoting network lighting controls. The landscape for rebates is changing. They're consistent in terms of they've been widely available for many years. There's strong support of lighting, but we're starting to see demand for them soften a bit. Whereas in the past, as many as a quarter of programs would typically report running out of funding before the end of the year, fewer reported this in 2022 and only 5% last year, according to rebate fulfillment provider BrightSwitch, which shared its database with us to produce some of the data in this presentation. A fifth of programs offered accelerated rebates in the second half of the year to meet energy savings targets. These are bonuses. Some of these continuing into the first quarter of this year. This increases the incentive and therefore the opportunity for lighting upgrades. In 2024, the most popular LED rebates continued to be LED replacement lamps, troffers and flat panels, downlights, wall mount fixtures, parking garage fixtures, outdoor pole arm mount fixtures, and high bay fixtures. After years of declining average rebates, reflecting falling market costs, LED rebates stabilized in 2021 and have since held or even increased, likely due to inflation. This year, LED products as a whole saw an average 2% increase, with the biggest increases 6 to 7% being for LED outdoor and parking garage light fixtures, according to BrightSwitch. This brings us to lamps. Despite federal legislation eliminating traditional general service medium-based lamps, LED replacement lamps rebates have surprisingly endured this year. The average rebate for suitable LED replacement lamps saw a significant increase in 2023 as incentive programs staged their final push. It was expected that these rebates would be eliminated this year, and while this occurred to a large extent, some smaller rebate programs continued them and with higher rebate amounts. This may have been due to these programs struggling to reach their energy savings goals. In 2024, horticultural rebates are continuing to present a strong specialized category. 2 years ago, the number of rebates focused on horticultural lighting tripled, with many programs adopting a prescriptive instead of a custom approach. This is very common with newer technologies. It'll start as a custom and then it slowly moves over into prescriptive where they can standardize it. This growth in horticultural LED rebates stabilized last year. And in this year, a significant number of programs are offering an incentive, with the average prescriptive rebate being about $100 per light fixture. Lighting control rebates remain widely available and substantial this year, and they're increasing as well in terms of average amounts. Popular rebates include remote-mounted, wall box, and fixture-mounted occupancy sensors, photocells, which measure light. They're used for perceiving daylight, and daylight dimming systems. Average amounts are shown here courtesy of the BrightSwitch rebate database. In 2024, all of these categories saw an average increase of 2 to 7%. In 2016, the DLC launched a QPL for network lighting controls, or what we call NLCs, based on interest by utilities in maximizing energy savings with lighting controls. Shown here is a partial listing of the 67 listed systems. The DLC defines a network lighting control system as a combination of sensors, network interfaces, and controllers that enact lighting changes in lamps and luminaires. In DLC research of more than 100 applications, network lighting control systems generated an average of 47% energy savings. Traditionally, network lighting control rebates were custom, new construction, or performance-based rebate programs, typically complex, but with a significant rebate payoff on top of high energy savings and other value-added features. The continuing development of the QPL aimed to make these rebates more prescriptive to expand adoption. Network lighting control rebates are trending towards, therefore, increasing standardization. But they're not there yet. Rebate programs are still experimenting with different approaches. According to BrightSwitch, the number of utilities incorporating incentives for network controls grew by 8% in 2024, with about 53% of these rebates being prescriptive, which again is friendlier than custom rebates. Additionally, most are now established on a per fixture basis, with an average of over $200 per light fixture installed and controlled. It is also interesting to see about a very small amount, but even that's surprising. 2% of network lighting control rebate programs are now being offered as midstream or instant rebates, which is really something, actually. The DLC's QPL for network lighting controls features detailed requirements for network control systems applied to lighting in commercial industrial buildings, interior and exterior environments. Building automation systems may qualify for the NLC QPL as long as they satisfy the network lighting control requirements. The same goes for DC and power over Ethernet systems as long as they satisfy related requirements specific to those systems. Horticultural control systems are not eligible at this time, though earlier this year, the DLC announced a technical working group to help identify opportunities for network lighting controls in that space. In mid-2023, the QPL for network lighting controls transitioned to listing based on complying with NLC 5 technical requirements. Products are qualified and listed based on reported and required capabilities. Required capabilities must be satisfied to be listed, while reported capabilities provide helpful system details. For interior lighting systems, the network lighting control system is required to have the capabilities of networking, zoning, and individual addressability in the network, in addition to continuous dimming, occupancy sensing, daylight response, and high-end trim. Additionally, compliance with at least one of several recognized cybersecurity standards is required, and energy monitoring is also required if the system is not a room-based system. Reported capabilities include scheduling, luminaire level lighting control, device monitoring, remote diagnostics, and a whole lot more, as you can see there. There's a lot of terms here, like individual addressability. What does that mean? That means each controller is a point in a network that is discoverable on the network in software. You could control it individually with a program, or you could program it as part to react and be controlled as part of a group. There's lots of different terms here, and NLC 5 itself has all the helpful definitions, and of course, any manufacturer or good service provider that you work with would be able to help with some of these definitions as well. For exterior lighting systems, the requirements are similar as to interior, though with some significant differences, such as scheduling being a required rather than a reported requirement, and vehicle traffic sensing able to be substituted for occupancy sensing, which is people sensing. So robust commercial rebates incentivize LED upgrade projects, including either discrete control devices such as sensors or networked lighting control systems. Now let's talk about how to get them. To determine prescriptive rebate availability in your area, contact the local utility. That's a really good first place to start. Manufacturers also offer rebate finder tools on their websites. And then, of course, various service providers, sometimes they'll join a rebate program as a trade ally, and that means they're trained on the program specifics, and they would and they meet other qualifications, and they may be able to help as well. Rebate programs they're a bit messy when you cross territories. They're largely individualized, vary widely, and they can change. Before making an application, become educated about and stay abreast of detailed program requirements, such as design specifics, pre-approval requirements, if applicable, inspections, expiration dates, and so on. For example, the rebate may have little requirements that can become very important, such as it may require a certain number of light fixtures or wattage, be controlled by a control device for that control device to get a rebate. Many rebate programs require application and pre-approval prior to installation. Advancing a project before receiving pre-approval and all inspections may compromise eligibility for a desired rebate. During the pre-approval step, the rebate program may ask for documentation to help confirm savings calculations, such as a description of the existing building and lighting installation, hours of operation, square footage, and so on. Build this time into the project and ensure the paperwork is done correctly to avoid delays. Overall, the rebate process does take time and requires some administrative resources or outsourcing to a rebate fulfillment firm. Understand that rebate applications aren't always approved or may award a smaller amount than expected, which does introduce an element of risk. While many programs saw a softening of demand last year, it is still possible in some regions that strong participation may drain funds early. Note that some programs maintain a reservation of funds policy, which sets aside money for approved projects working their way through the process. If DLC listing is required, ensure the exact model for a selected product is listed. In the DLC QPLs, each product carries a unique identifier or product ID to make it easier to verify qualification. Confirm listing at the source, as a logo on a spec sheet may not be considered sufficient proof, and options may change the performance of a lighting product. On-site or virtual pre and post-installation inspection may be required to verify installation of the products, common when the rebate is significantly large. If the rebate provider offers a trade ally program, which may include benefits such as communications and training, it could be beneficial to work with such firms. For custom rebates, the process is more involved. The project team documents the baseline, which may be the existing building if it's an upgrade, or the local energy code if it's new construction or certain renovations. The team then presents a plan that demonstrates substantial energy savings. The plan may include modeling and project drawings. Upon completion, the rebate program may require energy savings verification and measuring, which can be provided through metering or a network lighting control system that has this capability. Rebate programs evolve with technology and the marketplace. It wasn't that long ago that LED products were just showing up in rebate programs, and now that's all it is on the lighting side. It wasn't that long ago that network lighting controls were the stuff of custom rebates, and now they're showing up in more and more prescriptive rebates. So things definitely change. And this allows the incentives to adapt so they can continue to derive a substantial lighting energy savings, particularly in the era we're heading into, which is one of LED saturation. Likely to be on the menu for evaluation and potentially future promotion and prescriptive rebate programs, or maybe even some new type of model. High efficiency LED lighting, replacing first generation with current generation technology, possibly with $1 per watt instead of $1 per product rebate. Lighting redesign, tying lighting and controls as a package. Possibly even like if you want the lighting rebate, you have to do the controls. Networked and luminaire level lighting controls, which are the advanced control options that maximize energy savings. HVAC integration, which is actually can be a source of a great deal of untapped energy savings. Can be a little complicated to do, but if it can be done, it can be quite lucrative in terms of saving energy. And specialized applications such as UV disinfection, data, and tunable lighting. As lighting controls are underutilized in existing buildings, they are likely to play a strong role in the rebate mix moving forward. I think that is one thing that will be certain. For custom rebates, we're going to see them probably continue to evolve as well as they are now, as energy codes, for example, become increasingly strict. New construction-oriented custom lighting rebates are likely to continue to diminish in availability in favor of projects involving more holistic building approaches. For decades, commercial lighting rebates have endured as an effective policy for utilities and energy efficiency organizations to reduce demand for electrical power by incentivizing adoption of energy efficient lighting and controls. While rebates can require effort and pose some risk, many building owners and managers have utilized them successfully as a beneficial tool to capture or enhance lighting upgrade projects. The overall outlook for rebates in the US and this year remains positive, with widely available rebates covering much of the United States and supported by freely available detailed listings of qualified products. They are particularly attractive for projects involving solutions adding lighting controls, including network lighting controls. And now a brief word about us. The organization that created this presentation, the Lighting Controls Association, just so you know who we are. We're the voice of the lighting controls industry, council of the National Electrical Manufacturers Association, formed about 25 years ago to educate the public about lighting control technology and application. Today, our hallmark program is Education Express, a series of web-based courses on a wide range of lighting and control topics. At our website, you can find this and plenty more articles about the world of lighting, lighting efficiency, lighting control, new product introductions, award-winning projects, building projects featuring lighting controls and more, all at our website of lightingcontrolsassociation.org. It's just free information if you want to learn more. And that concludes. Thank you again for attending this presentation. I hope you found the information useful for your organization. And I wish you success in developing your project using commercial lighting and control rebates. And with that, I'm going to turn things back over to McKenna, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much, Craig. That was great. I just want to remind anyone that if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A feature down at the bottom of your screen. We do have a few questions that people have asked. So Dana asked, does this particular rebate apply to upgrades to an outdated lighting control system? They asked this about like halfway through your presentation.
That is actually a really good question. It should. Yeah, that's a really good question. The first one stumped me. Yeah, I think that would depend on the program, because there is all the existing lighting installation is already saving energy. The new controls would have to be demonstrated to substantially save energy compared to that. So if you have lighting automation in a building, so the entire floor is switched at a certain time of day based on predicted operating hours. And that's it. That's all your lighting control. Lights turn on in the morning and turn off at night. And you want to replace that with occupancy sensors and maybe luminaire level lighting controls. I think the utility would work with you. I would be very surprised if they did not, because having the more granular, the more detailed lighting control in across that floor would be virtually certain to save energy compared to the older lighting automation solution of just blunt switching twice a day. But because so yeah, but I would maybe try and talk to the utility to let them know about that situation. There may be scenarios like that might fall more under custom, or they may say, yep, we do approve that. We would recognize that under prescriptive, because you are substantially saving energy nonetheless, and we want to encourage that. I think it's a really good time to ask utility for something like that, because within the era of LED saturation, like I said, demand is softening, appears to be softening. Of course, your mileage varies depending on territory and state and so on. But generally, on average, across the United States, demand is softening for rebates. I think it's a really good time to ask that question and get that kind of thing done.
And then Jennings asked, our school did upgrades 3 years ago to LED, but now we have been having some lights go out. Would they still be under warranty?
That would be a question to ask the manufacturer and whoever installed the system. Um, if it's if it's lighting controls, they have their warranties. But if it's LED lighting like luminaires, uh, typically because it's LED and the technology was built on a promise of longevity, superior longevity to fluorescent. Generally, they have more generous warranties in terms of time, but what it covers and what that specific time amount of time is and what it covers, would you would have to look at the paper and see what it says, and then go back to that manufacturer. But my understanding is all of this would be outside the scope of rebates. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I know that you touched on it a little bit, but what are some challenges people might face when applying for lighting rebates and how can they overcome them?
Oh, well, yeah, I think that a big hassle is just that you have to find them on their website, and there's all these rules, and it's just a learning curve. And then it's a bit of a hassle. You have to get in, you have to fill out all the paperwork, and but these are a lot of it is just administration. Yeah, they're going to ask you for information that would be made. They may ask you for information that would be from a lighting audit. But if you're doing a lighting upgrade, you're probably going to do a lighting audit anyway. You're going to go into space and you're going to look at the fixture types and count them up and wattage and what's in there, and then you're going to have, you're probably going to have all this anyway. It's just a matter of just typing it into their system and then kind of tracking it, making sure you build in the time to get those approvals, and then it takes time, for example, to get the check afterwards. Like, you just have to have all this kind of like realistic expectations, and then diligently complete all the paperwork. There are, I mentioned like this company Bright Switch a couple times. They're very generous with us with their database, so uh, we quote them a lot, but they are an example. There are others as well. They're not the only one. There is a little industry doing this where they will come. They're available to. They'll be like, we got it. You're especially if you're an enterprise. You have buildings in a couple cities in different parts of a state, or different states, or different regions of the country. You are a higher level, or you have a bigger portfolio responsibility than a single building. You may find yourself in a situation where it's gets to be downright problematic to try and hunt down all these requirements and juggle everything. So in that kind of situation, it may make sense to work with a rebate fulfillment firm. You can also try and find a trade ally that maybe is willing to support you with some of this paperwork in order to win your business, like a proactive distributor, or a contractor, some company that is reputable, qualified, and has intimate knowledge of the program. They may be a valuable resource as well. So I would say those would probably be the biggest challenges. I think another traditional challenge is the traditionally, but maybe not so much today, as much today, let's put it that way, is that in the past they would just turn on the spigot, and then there would be a rush for the funds, and then and then they would just drain the funds early, which would introduce um, an element of risk. Another thing that's different about rebates today is that they used to cover, um, years ago, you would have some companies in the what we in the industry call a sales channel, like, would maybe try and game it a little bit, where they would try and get the rebate to cover the entire cost. Rebate programs are pretty savvy about this, and they do want the owner to have some skin in the game. So generally, the rebate is it's far more common. It covers 10 to 70% of the cost, um, and it can improve a project's payback by 20 to 25%, which is very good. On the control side, um, though, the cost is the rebate can be pretty high compared to the cost. Like, for example, a standalone occupancy sensor or a fixture mounted, you have a high bay fixture, LED fixture you're installing. If you have an occupancy sensor in it, um, that it's not a free ride usually, but the what you're earning compared to the cost is actually pretty high. So I would say that's a long answer to that question, but I covered a lot of ground. But I think that those would be some of the challenges that you would encounter dealing with the rebate program. I would say they're pretty standard challenges that you would be dealing with a large organization that is bureaucratic and requires time and
Great.
a process to award cash.
Right. So we are running a little short on time. So, Craig, is there anything else you would like to add for our attendees?
No, I would just say, thank you again, and thank you BOM, and thank you Lutron. I would just say it's a really good time for LED lighting. The technology is widely adopted. It's maturing. Uh, Traditional lighting is declining, has been declining for years. And lighting controls, it's a great time for lighting controls as well because it's so much more reliable. There's so many more options to get sophisticated lighting control into existing buildings, like wireless control and networking. It's just a really terrific time for lighting energy efficiency and to consider either making the switch or taking your lighting system to the next level. And rebates provide a great resource to help facilitate that. So thank you again.
Thank you, Craig. And lots of people are saying thank you in the chat. So it was much appreciated. And also just want to say thank you to everyone for attending our event today. Just a final reminder that this event was recorded and will be archived on facilitiesnet.com. And if you would like to get a CEU for attending today's event, watch our email for the link to take our CEU quiz. Once again, we appreciate everyone for being here today, and that concludes our webcast. Thank you.